If you're looking to put a CR wing on your S2000, you pretty much have three options. You can buy an OEM unit, you can buy the Seabin carbon fiber replica, or you can buy a third option that's a different kind of replica that is on Amazon and eBay, and it's called the Extreme Online Store, aka EOS CR replica wing. The reason I decided to go with the EOS replica and try it out is because for $300 you get the whole wing and all the hardware, the stands, the covers, and everything. And for CRs, you can't buy an OEM CR wing in red because the CRs never came in red. So if I were to buy an OEM CR wing, I would have had to repaint it red from a body shop. That would have added a few $100 more to it. And then I'm sitting close to $2,000 just to add the wing itself. So if you've seen in my last couple of videos, I have a spare trunk lid that I've already purchased from eBay from a wrecked car, and NFR, and the paint matches pretty good on it. Got the emblem debadged in the rear and shaved off and filled, I think from a previous owner. But I plan to make a video showing how I'm going to modify this trunk to put the CR wing on it. There's a thread on S2KI for how to do it. However, it doesn't go in super detail from start to finish, and I don't believe there's any other YouTube videos covering the process of how to add the CR wing to this effectively with the backing plates and all the CR reinforcements and whatnot for the trunk bumpers and whatnot. This is my OEM trunk lid, VIN matching to the car. It's got the OEM lip spoiler on it, and that has the holes drilled through the trunk that has the nut on it for the OEM spoiler. So don't want to try to rip that off and leave the hole there and then put more holes in the center. Got lucky finding that trunk lid over there. So for $300, like I said, I got this whole kit. I'm going to pull it out of the box now and give you my impressions on the initial quality of it. I will say I don't have an OEM CR wing here to compare it to. However, I should be able to tell pretty quickly if it's just a really cheap replica or if it is of high quality. The reason I pulled the trigger and went with it is there's a few people on the Facebook group S2K Talkin' Tech who recommended it. They actually had it on some cars that were tracked, said it made a difference, and said it was very sturdy. So saving myself nearly $1,500 by going this route versus an OEM unit. Okay, so pulling it out of the box, first impressions are it's packaged very well, probably better than any other aftermarket component I've bought. Everything was very secure in there, nicely padded. Here's the wing itself with some of the hardware in there in the bag. They even give you a little instruction here for the assembly guide, and you can see that here. Pause the video if you want to read this, but just a quick and dirty assembly guide. It's pretty straightforward. Hardest part is going to be modifying the trunk for this, of course. Then you got the wing stands here with the metal brackets inside, marked right and left. This is unpainted. All of this is unpainted. It's just like a matte black from the finish of the plastic. So you're not going to have to strip any paint or anything before you go to paint it. You should be able to just give this to a body shop, and there's minimal prep work to spray it whatever color you want. So that should save time on their end, as opposed to buying a CR wing where they're going to have to prep it a lot more and scuff off the nice OEM paint. Okay, so initial impressions of the wing stands and the brackets themselves. I know I just mentioned that I think that the finish of these was just the injection molded black plastic. However, you can see a little bit of overspray inside of these pieces here. So that just reminded me the description for this product did say they were primed blacks, that you can literally just take them to the body shop and they just start painting them. So in the ejector plates here for this mold, you can see this part is actually stamped 2018, and then it's stamped 4 over there. So April 2018 is when these parts were actually produced, and probably sitting on the shelf for a couple years until I bought them here. But these molded parts do look very, very nice. I will say there's no flashing or any kind of cheap mold look to them with the quality of the plastic. Everything does look really nice with the molds themselves. They do line up very nicely, and I'll know more when I get it installed on the trunk. But I plan to paint these like a gloss black or like a semi-gloss black, and the wing itself red, kind of follow the OEM look on it. Another thing to note too is that they are marked. They are stamped with a right and left designation. This one is the right side, as you can see there with the R. But It's got a stud, and then it's got 2 welded nuts on it, just like OEM. So, I mean, the welds look okay. There's nothing to complain about there. You can see that this is needs like kind of like a jig to make it or something, because there is quite an angle to that to contour the trunk and keep the wing straight up in the air. So I'll definitely know more when I go to install this of how well the tolerance is held up for this angled weldment here. But the way this all secures to the car is identical to the OEM unit as far as 1 stud and 2 nuts on the bottom, and then the interface up here where the wing actually has a stud coming out of it, and you put 2 screws in because it's got like 2 nut certs on the wing. So that all kind of follows the OEM unit here, and you can see that you set this on here, and then the pass-through holes line up for the other cover for the screws to come through and secure this from the insides. You will be able to see those. I think the OEM ones have plugs that go in there that plug the screw holes, but this does not. Another difference in quality with the replica. So this is the hardware pack they give you. Some stuff in here, including the gaskets that go underneath the wing stands to seal off the trunk, so that's pretty nice. I didn't realize it included those, and those could actually be used as a template too to see where the bolt pattern is when drilling the trunk. That might be helpful. But you got all your hardware here. Okay, so here is the wing itself. First impressions, I don't know how thick the OEM one is, but this has a little squish to it. I don't know how critical to be since it is you know, injection molded ABS part. So it does look really nice though, I will say. Not super heavy. So if I flip this upside down, you'll see the bottom profile here. We've got these protector blocks here. You get the 3 studs coming out of there, and then you get that tab sticking out, which further reinforces the mounting. I believe this is all like the same as the CR OEM wing. It's pretty nicely done with the primer for the black. I will say it looks pretty good. Like they did have a good process control. It does look like a pretty nice matte black paint job on it right now, but I'll definitely won't be putting that on the car. But one thing I noticed too is it's got these holes here, which the OEM one does as well. I don't know if it's for an injector pin from the mold or if it's just a drain hole if the swing somehow gets water inside of it. But I did read a post online saying that the aftermarket units didn't have that hole there. As you can see, it definitely does. Maybe it's in a different spot compared to the OEM one, but it definitely does have those little holes in the bottom. So as far as the profile of the wing itself, I'd say, you know, it looks pretty good. Definitely don't have a OEM CR wing to compare it to, but I will say it looks a lot like it, and the pictures I saw online of the guys that have run it, you can't really tell the difference between this profile and an OEM one. I believe the only way you'd probably be able to see dimensional differences is if you were to 3D scan the OEM wing and overlay it with a 3D scan of this wing to see how close they are, but I assume they are very, very close. So one thing I just thought was interesting, I didn't notice first when I showed you the instructions, is the top right corner says Cayman GT4 style trunk spoiler. It has nothing to do with an S2000, so, and it definitely looks like the S2000 wing on here, so I have no idea why they had to put that up there. Maybe for copyright reasons they couldn't just say this was an S2000 CR spoiler, but that is something strange to note.